You need two things for insane top speed on an electric unicycle: power and stability. A big enough battery pack in high enough of voltage to power the run, but just as important, a stable enough platform so a sane human being will be willing to test its limit. And this, the Begode Panther, in theory at least, has more of both than any other electric unicycle ever. So how fast can it go, and more importantly, is it any good? This week I ride the Begode Panther and see if it could win the crown as the fastest electric unicycle ever. Roll the intro. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and help spread the uni gospel. First, a quick shout out to Jason from eWheel for sending me this Begode Panther for review purposes. But as usual, opinion expressed, however weird they may be, is strictly my own. So, a curious coworker had asked me about the strange neon contraption I had on the elevator, and inevitably the question of speed comes up. How fast does it go? And at first he thought he was mistaken. You mean 17 miles per hour? No, I said. 17 miles per hour. I think your average EUC rider may have gotten used to the insane size to performance ratio that your regular electric unicycle typically have, and speed upward of 45 miles per hour no longer even impresses. But to the average unsuspecting public, it's probably a bit crazy to think that a wheel not much larger than a carry-on luggage is capable of cracking highway speed limits. And the secret to its power comes from its squarish profile that let you stuff it full of battery plus a giant motor. In the case of the Panther, 4.4 kilowatt hour worth of 50S high discharge battery pack at 168 volt, powering a 5 kilowatt motor which free spin at 100 miles per hour. These are specs that's starting to approach that of a high-power electric motorcycle costing twice as much, all in a package that fit easily under a desk or in your trunk. Which is part of the attraction of high-performance electric unicycle, but is there such a thing as going too far? And that brings us to my review of the Begode Panther. As usual, I'm going to rate it based on 5 criteria, and they are design convenience, ride quality, performance, and finally value on a scale of 1 to 5. Starting with design and convenience, neither of which are on the list of reasons why this wheel exists. The Begode Panther is 120 pounds and one of the heaviest EUC ever produced. And you're constantly reminded of its tremendous weight wherever you go. And the sorry excuse of a trolley handle they provide does a piss poor job of controlling this envelope of a wheel. And I've gotten used to shoving its tail with my legs just to pivot and maneuver it in tight quarters. And despite its size and hefty price tag, you will not find any exotic lightweight casing material. Instead, you have good old plastic. Lots and lots of plastic. It does come with IP67 rating, so waterproof if you don't mind riding in the wet. And the standard adjustable Begode headlight, also plastic. Get a fender, adjustable high pedals, and a plastic kickstand. Nothing exciting, but things improve a bit from an EUC enthusiast perspective. Nerd. You get acres of Velcro space to mount your speed pad in whatever weird way you like. And all the wiring from the headlights, taillight, decorative lighting, and alarm speakers are connected to the controller via plugs, which make customization and swapping out light modules easier to do. And given its stability and suspension, the Panther is one of the best seated riding EUC ever rode. But there's no getting around its plain boring look with the kind of insane performance it's actually capable of. The the Begode Panther is worthy of beautiful exotic motor design, but instead look like a cheap luggage from a dollar store. So unfortunately, it earns a 2 out of 5 for design and convenience. But I suspect that is not why you're here. The Hsiang Skyline is a legendary car. Despite its plain economy box look, and just like the Skyline, the plain exterior of the Begode Panther hides an absolutely insane unit of a performance machine. The 22-inch diameter wheel had always been a difficult challenge, so much so that even the mighty veteran Leaperkin, producer of the legendary Sherman line of EUCs, had their only stumble when they released the 22-inch apron. But for all of your trouble, there are some serious benefits. The greater spin force and momentum of the larger wheel translate directly into an increase in gyroscopic stability at speed. When you spin up 60 pounds of motor plus rim and tire to 1,000 RPM, it gives you an almost motorcycle-like stability at speed. And for anyone who may think it insane to attempt 70 miles per hour on a unicycle, this is why it's even remotely feasible to do. The Begode Panther is also surprisingly hospitable ergonomically compared with other giant electric unicycles.
So safe, so comfortable. So shonies.
The casing is the same width as the Leaperkin Lynx and feels surprisingly narrow considering its size, and although you won't have the pivot on the dying agility of smaller 18-inch EUCs, you will still outmaneuver anything on 2 wheels. The new Gen 1 hydraulic suspension still feels a bit experimental and is unfortunately on the stiff and clunky side of things. Honestly, it's a surprising choice considering all the effort Begode had put in to develop their lever arm-based suspension design, and this is especially evident at higher speed, which is what this wheel is designed for. Despite the subpar suspension, the Panther delivers on the ride where it counts. And if you enjoy carving on an electric unicycle or know the joy of throwing the weight of a wheel into a corner and leaning all the way in just to feel the pavement rushing by, then there are nothing else on the market that can compare to what it's like to ride the Panther. Something absolutely elemental with how it feels to ride the Begode Panther. With its tremendous output, it's like riding a giant wave and a thunderstorm all rolled into one. Despite deficiency with its suspension, the Begode Panther earns a 4.5 out of 5 for ride depth. And finally, let's talk about speed. The Extreme Bolt GT Pro was the previous speed champ, and I have managed to get it up to 70 miles per hour in the cutout tunnel, but the reality of the wheel is a bit less impressive. Despite its insane power output, at 18 inches, it lacks sufficient stability on the upper end and either require controlled environment with smooth surfaces and zero crosswind, or someone way braver than I who's willing to risk it all. On open roads, I'm able to easily get it up to 50 miles per hour, but beyond that, it quickly begins to feel vague and sketchy, which is why I tend to avoid taking the left lane on the 50 miles per hour plus roads. And the GT Pro isn't the only wheel facing that barrier. Other high-performance electric unicycle like the Sherman L or Begode's own ET Max all faces the same limitation, to the point where even I start to question whether or not if it's ever feasible for someone to ride an electric unicycle comfortably at 70 miles per hour. That is until I rode the Begode Panther. The sense of stability is immediately evident right from the get-go. Even at low speed, the Panther feels balanced and planted. and that sense of consistency extend to its acceleration curve, more like a straight line that goes up and up. And as speed increases, wheel dynamic remain predictable and stable. Even when cornering, the Panther feels rock solid, so much so that I start doing things like fidgeting and adjusting camera angles without realizing that I was still doing 45. And although the Panther won't out-accelerate lighter competition like the Lynx, what it will do is to continue to pull like a train beyond 50 miles per hour, and past this point, the other 18-inch wheels all start to drift like a bar of wet soap on a wet bathroom tile floor, but the Panther remained rock solid, planted, and ready to go even faster. At 60 miles per hour, I'm pushing against 250 pounds of wind force, and despite my doubt, the Panther not just hit that speed, but hold and cruise with 50% battery and another 35% headroom left on a regular outdoor road without significant effort and on my normal commute. But that still doesn't answer the question of how fast can it actually go. Which brings us to the cutout tunnel. Quarter-mile run of smooth and uninterrupted road, and the only spot where I can test the upper limit of what is possible on an EUC. Without a full charge, the Panther is at a disadvantage, and with only a quarter mile, I do not have the luxury of inching up to its max speed and only got to 65 miles per hour on the second run. And on the third run, I fully committed, got it all the way to 60 miles per hour, and it did! Which is when you exceeded the max current the system can support, and the wheel pitches forward, ready to shut down and dump your sorry, risky ass on the pavement. Thankfully, I was able to pull it back, but that ends my run at 69.2 miles per hour. Just short of what the GT Pro posted, and just 1 mile per hour short of a new personal EUC speed record. Disappointing, but still mind-blowingly fast. And for this still insane result, the Begode Panther earns a 5 out of 5 for performance. But is the Begode Panther worth the very high asking price of $5,000?
Are you crazy?
For the amount you would pay for a brand new Kawasaki Ninja 500 motorcycle, you get an electric unicycle that is in a class of its own. And if you live in an area like this where 50 miles per hour road speed is the norm, then the Panther is the only reasonably comfortable and safe electric unicycle that could be your car replacement if that is what you're looking for. But if where you live is more like this, where traffic jam and crowded sidewalks is the norm of what you have to deal with on a daily basis, then the weight to performance ratio may not look as in favor for the Begode Panther. But I have to admit, practicality is boring, and dreams and excitement are much more interesting criteria for selecting an electric unicycle. And if that's the case, then the Begode Panther earns a 4 out of 5 for value. So what do you think? With the Leaper King RX now joining the roster of the 23-inch EUCs, the ultra-fast high-speed wheels seems to be the next designated battleground, but are they too large, too expensive, and too impractical? Well, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Once again, I ramble on too long and somehow managed to waste another 15 minutes of your life, but I hope you enjoyed it. Shout out to my supporter on Patreon. Please check out the link in the video description below if you enjoy and like to support my work. And as always, as much as we all love electric unicycle, the only way for us to get better wheel is to grow as a community. So tell your friend, teach them how to ride, and get them hooked. Until the next video, thank you.